be funny. Oh wow. Fuck you, Samaj.
Samaj didn't do that. Don't blame Samaj for shit I'm doing.
Oh, fuck you, Raucous.
What? Shut up. I can't convince people to go live when other people are in the middle of explaining something embarrassing. Well, clearly you don't know me, sir.
Welcome to the internet. Don't you realize we're all assholes?
Yeah, everybody here is pretty much a jackass, an asshole, a bitch, a cunt. And guess what stream we're on?
Proper villains?
Yes, proper villains. Did you read the script?
No.
You know I can't read.
All right. I don't know where to go from there. What the fuck, Darnell?
Why the fuck do you have me then if I can't make any jokes?
I'm not saying not to make jokes. I'm just... What? Why would you say something like, I don't know how to read? It's terrible. I can't tell if you're laughing, crying, or yawning right now. It's really weird.
All three.
I don't even want to know how that's remotely physically possible.
Meh.
All right, anyways.
So, Darnell, you were telling us a very embarrassing story. Go on.
Yes.
All right. So, the way I managed to almost break my foot throwing away a child's sock is not a story I like to tell very lightly. It started out when I was in one of my political science classes, and there was a baby sock in my chair, and the people made me throw it out and then wash my hands, and then because my college has like these giant metal doors, and of course I didn't look where my foot was, so when I opened the door with all my strength, I almost split my toe in half. And I limp across to the room, and like the entire hallway, it's like there's a trail of blood that looks like a woman was on her period, and that's pretty much how I almost broke my foot.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you know this, but I don't think women bleed like that, where it just comes out and drips everywhere, because there's underwear and pants and other things that get in the way. What are you doing on your time off, Darnell, other than apparently bleeding everywhere? What the fuck is that noise?
Depends on the day, and depends on what I have on my plate. You see what I do most of my times.
Indeed. Well then. Apparently Brockus is muted. All right. So Darnell.
Yeah, I was trying to cancel out some noise that I kept hearing in the background. So.
Oh, okay. Darnell, are you still in school? Aren't you done yet?
No, I have one more year before I graduate.
Isn't it past your bedtime, young man?
He's not even gonna answer that with a.
No, I'm not even like. Which one do I answer first? Do I answer the one that's going year, or the one that does make me question my bedtime?
I, for some reason, thought you were about to say make me question my sexuality because you completely forgot what to say. Oh, why is my mind so fucked up right now?
No, trust me, Zell makes me question that every day.
Zell makes you question your sexuality?
Yeah, it's like, do I somehow manage to attract bears? Like, is that my saying? I manage to attract bears now?
I don't know what to say about that. Like, I don't know what you and Zell are doing in DMs. It's kind of making me wonder.
I can show you. It's kind of weird.
Don't do it.
No, it's just like when I'm just saying when you're in the middle of the night and you just get a message saying, Darnell, I want you. It's just weird.
What? This is going in a direction I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah,
you're not comfortable. I'm the recipient.
You need to stop talking, though. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Just stop, Darnell.
It's not your fault. You're so cool. You're so cool, man.
Darnell's so rapeable. I mean, what?
Okay, well, at least we're all being honest now.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways,
Rocket check Twitter.
What?
Check Twitter.
Check Twitter with the phone.
Apparently, the multiple pictures I did of Anon in lewd positions that keeps growing traction. I'm like, how come I got there? Keep getting more likes. Should be dead by now.
I'm just getting Twitter notifications here.
Oh yeah, people joining?
No. Darnell, you're not. God damn it, dude.
Darnell.
What?
He's just taking screenshots of crazy shit Zell apparently says to him. You realize I'm just going to delete this and say, no, that never happened.
I still have it.
What do you want?
Apparently, Darnell wants to defame you and say that you've been molesting him in DMs.
You can't prove that, Darnell.
Exactly. You can't prove that.
I mean, unless you got like photos and stuff, and then you can totally prove it.
I'm just going to get his phone and like delete all those photos.
Darnell, why are you talking shit when I promoted you as the gold of the internet, as the new up and comer?
Yeah, bitch.
You could have been something. You could have been a contender. But now
because I've seen what happens to all the other kids in Hollywood. Because I've seen what happens to all the other kids in Hollywood, and I don't want to be like that.
You don't want to get like a bunch of money and get raped? What's wrong with you?
I'm going to change your name from Dopal to Fredo. You broke my heart.
We were going to have Darzell. It was going to be a thing, man.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's a terrible thing.
You've lost the plot, dude. Anyway, I just popped in
but also, I will say...
I don't care about Brachus, but I'm here... I'm eating at Denny's with the Mr. Antoines, the Ishtars, and the Killer. So we're just chilling and having a good time. We're going to talk about Avengers, and hopefully they hate it as much as I do. So I will talk to you guys later. And Darnell, if you ever talk bad about me again, I'm breaking your Lego sets. I don't care if they're glued together. I'm breaking them.
I was going to say, I actually can make it to the Thursdays now that classes are getting over with.
He literally left as you were saying that.
Exactly. Also, Brachus, you saw the Avengers, didn't you?
Yep.
No spoilers or nothing, but yeah, good, not so good.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is quite possibly it's going to be one of the most mixed reviewed Marvel movie we have ever had so far.
Really?
Yes. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of parts in that movie that I greatly enjoy. Thanos was amazing. The entire fucking movie, I think there was only really one part of the movie that made me question Thanos just slightly, and that was it. And it was just one of those slight things, but even then, as Zell and I were talking about it in the car after the movie, I was telling him, like, we could argue various different theories when it comes to the movies, like, you know, why didn't this happen in this movie? Why didn't that happen in that movie? Stuff like that. But the thing is, until dialogue actually solidifies something, your theories are worthless. Your theories will be worthless, and until, like, you know, something either confirms or denies it, your theories are nothing. You can fan theory a movie all you want, but unless the movie actually gives you exactly that, then it's completely dog shit. And unfortunately, one of the problems that most movies do suffer is sometimes they do give actual audience members what they want through their fan fiction. Ryan Johnson, you fucking retard.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have questions that I want answered, but I don't want them to be answered.
I can answer any question you want, and I can do it spoiler-free to a certain point. Now, if anybody wants to ask me questions about the movies, go ahead and let me know, of course. But if you don't want anything spoiled, I'm not going to fucking spoil it. And, like, Simple as that. You know, it's just.
Mm.
I will say this: the opening to the movie, fucking intense, pretty fucking intense. Like they go in grabbing you by the balls.
Really?
Yeah. That movie grabs you by the balls and does not let go for a while.
We know it's balls because it's going to be nothing but a bunch of nerds in there nerding out over there. Lord knows the girlfriends ain't coming over.
No. I saw a lot of girlfriends grabbing their lady balls, their tits, when they were watching the movie too. But I think it's because every time Josh Brolin spoke, it was just like, I don't know why, but I am moist.
I guess they have a good reason to go see Deadpool then, if that's the case.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, Josh Brolin is one of those older men who has one of those voices where you don't know why you feel the way you do, but you feel tingly. You just get a little bit tingly downstairs, and you're just like, what is it about this man's voice? I don't know what it is. It's like, it's smooth and comforting, but at the same time gruff and tough. I can't tell what it is.
I heard similar things with I forget the actor's name who plays Ultron.
The guy who did the Blacklist.
I never saw the Blacklist.
He's the main villain in the Blacklist as well.
Okay.
God damn it, why does that keep happening? So anyways, one of the things I actually wanted to talk about, and it's something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while now. Figured maybe you guys could actually put a little bit of your insight in on this kind of thing. Like, not literally insight as in you somehow know how Hollywood functions and everything, but is it just me, or does it feel like Hollywood is getting like really, really super lazy? Like, they used to just be out of ideas. Now it feels like they're so fucking lazy that they can't actually produce good movies anymore. Like, I saw A Quiet Place. It's one of those movies that Hollywood would have never greenlit if it wasn't for the people behind making the movie and stuff. And they probably convinced them to do it on a low budget, which it was actually done on a low budget compared to most, horror or monster flicks and stuff like that. But it worked. It worked so fucking well. A Quiet Place is such a good fucking movie. It's one of those movies where I'm like, I was gonna punch the shit out of Zell after the movie because he's taken me to one bad movie after another. And it was getting to the point where it's like, Zell, I swear to God, you need to stop telling me, hey, let's go and see this movie. I hear it's been getting good reviews. Because we end up walking out of the fucking movie hating it. And I'm just looking at him like, I swear to God, if you do this one more time, I'm just going to punch you in the dick. And I don't think I'll stop. I'm just going to keep punching you in the dick.
I'm sorry, but the more I hear about you and Zell, it always reminds me of Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, because we're kind of like Ren and Stimpy, and we do switch roles from time to time. Sometimes he's Ren, sometimes I'm Ren, sometimes he's Stimpy, sometimes I'm Stimpy. It's a very violent friendship.
So so that scene of like, I'm the pitcher, you're the catcher, sometimes you do that reverse as well?
No. He's always catching. Regardless of what he might try to say from time to time, he always catches.
Movies, if I had to give my advice on, or my opinion on movies, I've said this many times, but I'll say it again. Movies have become increasingly expensive, and they become more and more of a risk to make because people have switched over to streaming, and they aren't really going out to theaters as much as they used to. And also, I mean, people aren't making as much money as they used to, so they don't really have the money to afford to go out to a lot of movies. And so a lot of people will go see the big budget thriller like movie or big budget movies, action stuff, Avengers and all that stuff, and then spend less time going to original showings. So why would you? So for a Hollywood person who potentially takes large risks making these movies, like, why would you invest in something that may make the money or may not? And a lot of times it depends on who the filmmakers are. Like, for some reason, like, we don't have our modern day Spielberg. I mean, the closest we got is, what's his name? He did Star Trek in the first Star Wars movie.
J.J. Abrams.
Thank you. He's the closest thing we got, and he's not even that good.
That's true.
We don't have like the film power. And some of it also comes from the fact that a lot of the new directors that we're getting are not that good. And a lot of that is also a side effect from like poor education, indoctrination from SJW mindsets and everything. A lot of the people out there who well, even in the MCU movies, a lot of these do good, but they don't do great. They just do okay. Except the only movie out there, with the exception that did really well, of course, we all say is Deadpool. But the guy who directed that movie was like in his 60s.
Yeah,
And
so
he was directing animated movies. A lot of the younger directors that we're getting, like, they're not exactly producing great stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Also, sorry,
But the counter to that would be things like there are people out there that believe that Zack Snyder films are fucking amazing. I think that Zack Snyder is overrated, but basically Zack Snyder is just the darker version of Michael Bay. Do you want explosions, but you also want a really dark overtone? Go with Zack Snyder. Do you want explosions and a somewhat goofy overtone? Go with Michael Bay. So you've got the equivalence there with those two people and everything like that, but they do produce movies that keep people wanting to come and see the movies, despite how much we keep screaming, stop it, for the love of God, stop it. But then we have people like Jon Favreau and Joss Whedon. These guys are actually really good directors. I don't know if you remember Iron Man or Avengers, the first Avengers, but they were fucking amazing. So,
well, I think the other problem that we're facing is that in the time that we live in, we tend to measure good movies based on the superhero premise.
oh, hi, Mark. By the way, if we took an MCU movie and told Tommy Wiseau to not only write but also direct the movie, I think we would have a masterpiece on our hands.
I feel like he would do Great Lakes Adventures justice, just because that means like he could go the most Tommy Wiseau possible, and it would still match the tone.
Great Lakes Avengers is nothing more than a joke, and
Exactly.
No, sir, you are not giving Tommy Wiseau enough credit. Clearly, the man is a genius, and you are underrating his movie.
Look,
if you go on to the,
I want tackle football in suits again.
if you go on to the Nerdist YouTube channel, there's a they took Tommy Wiseau, like he actually came onto the set. They dressed him up like the Joker and told him to give his best Joker performance.
I've seen that.
It's truly magical. Truly magical. So that's something to check out. Yeah. What were we doing again? Oh, I was also wanted to say or ask, sort of segueing to DC stuff. Have you guys seen the animated Batman Ninja movie yet?
Not yet.
No. I haven't seen it yet. I was gonna watch it the other day, but I can't remember what I ended up doing instead. It was very distracting.
I totally forgot that it got released, and I went out earlier to try and find a copy of it, and I can't find one. So I'm very disappointed. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have better luck. I can always find streamings and stuff. There's already people pirating it on YouTube, but I want to actually pay for it because this looks like a fucking good movie.
You could try watching it on one of those pirating websites.
Yeah, I know I could, but I want to support it because I also like what they're doing. They're actually taking Batman and giving it a fresh take.
True.
And not to mention, I think the Catwoman design that's my waifu.
Yeah, that's nice, but like, can we get somebody other than fucking Batman, for Christ's sakes? Like nothing necessarily really against Batman, but that was actually one of the biggest criticisms I've actually had when it comes to Batman is the constant oversaturation of Batman. You can't seem to make a DC movie without a Batman reference or Batman somewhere in the goddamn movie. You can't do that with Superman or Batman. Like, look at every single DCEU movie, okay? How did they start off with Man of Steel? Because the DCEU couldn't start off any other fucking way. DC has absolutely no faith in any of their projects when it comes to major films and stuff like that, unless Batman and Superman are involved. But if you look at the Arrow TV show or even the Flash TV show, obviously the people were dying for something different. People wanted something different. They wanted something that wasn't Batman. Everybody was tired of Batman. We had just got done with a fucking Batman movie trilogy and a shitty ass fucking Superman Returns movie and shit. But then we got Man of Steel, followed up with Batman versus Superman, special appearance by Wonder Woman, and then that followed up with shit like fucking Suicide Squad. And of course, you can't have Suicide Squad without at least one Batman cameo, which they ended up doing a Batman cameo and a Flash cameo. Like, dude, seriously, DC has no faith in their own fucking characters unless Batman and Superman are there to introduce them. And it's fucking annoying.
And not even Superman, because like I said, remember, most of it is just like, it's Batman saying, you're like, oh yeah, only Superman if it's to complement Batman.
So a lot of what I mentioned earlier also applies to the DC universe, or the Warner Brothers chain of thought processes, because the Batman movies have almost always been successful. The Superman movies back in the day, yeah, those were good back then. Batman did really well, except for the last two, like after Tim Burton left. Those last two movies were fairly atrocious, but they still sold really well. And then they did try a Superman movie. That was that Bryan Singer Superman movie. It was an okay movie, but did not do well. Okay, mediocre movie, poor sales. So what faith do you have in that? And they just sort of went, well, obviously Batman's the way to go. And of course, we had a whole series of the dark Nolan Batman universe. And there again, that says, hey, Batman sells, nothing else does. TV, on the other hand, is a different kettle of fish, in that it's cheaper to make, it's easier to produce, and so there's less risk in that. So TV, you can get away with a lot more.
You also have the embargoes, which pretty much forbid them a lot of time from making Batman references.
That too. And then you look at the whole, like the DC universe and what we got so far. Warner Brothers is probably going to double down on Batman, because like that makes money. And if you look at what went on with Justice League, that did not do well. Same thing with like Man of Steel, did mediocre sales, not the greatest. Batman v Superman, very poor sales. Why would they take a risk and potentially risk going bankrupt on these superhero movies when there's no sign of return?
Okay, I actually I can go ahead and debunk a good portion of that. Not all of it, but I can debunk a good portion of it. Fun fact that people don't actually know about. Batman, of course, was created in the 1940s, shortly after Superman's massive success in 1939. And surprise, surprise, Batman is an extremely popular character that's been around for 70 plus years, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that they were actually going to cancel Batman comic books somewhere in the 1980s due to the fact that his was the lowest selling comic book in DC's actual collection?
Yep.
Do you know why?
This is pre-Dark Knight Returns.
Yes, this is pre-Dark Knight Returns. Do you know why people weren't buying Batman comic books at the time?
Because Superman and Shazam were the two highest selling, also Teen Titans as well.
That's part of it, but that's not the exact reason I was looking for. It's because DC offered a variety of different characters for the readers to actually enjoy. We had Superman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, Shazam / Captain Marvel,
Jonah Hex,
the Green Arrow, Jonah Hex. There were so many characters at that point. And eventually Marvel was leading into the Convergence story, which just so happened to actually be Crisis on Infinite Earths, where the multiverse came together to stop the Anti-Monitor.
You said Marvel, don't you mean DC?
This is DC, I meant that.
Yeah.
Anyways, if I misspeak, just shut the fuck up. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways.
Pretty sure the audience probably doesn't.
The audience should, because of the damn topic. Anyways, Batman was losing in sales due to the fact that he offered nothing of interest for anyone to read. He was boring.
Even the Question outsold Batman when it came to like detective stories.
Exactly.
And the Question did limited series. He wasn't a long running character.
But that's the thing, is like, because Batman was boring, uninteresting, and just some guy that they kept trying to throw at you. Like, the only time you really even cared about Batman at that point was probably in like the Justice League comic books or something along those lines. Batman's comic books individually were not selling. They just were not selling because he's not an interesting character. But then all of a sudden, Frank Miller comes in the 1980s with the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. And Batman comic books were pretty much the number one selling consistently every single fucking year from that point forward. Ever since then, Batman comic books have always been in the top 5. There's always at least 1 or 2 in top 5 in the actual like individual book runs and all that stuff. Batman is almost always consistently in the top 5. Sometimes he even holds multiple spots because it'll be like, you know, Batman will be the number 1 spot, but then Justice League, of course, with Batman on the cover, number 2 spot, shit like that.
Or it'll be Batman 43 number 1, and then Batman 37 the 2nd spot, or something like that.
No. They judge it based off of actual, like, you know, how many people, and it's not the individual issue anymore. It's more so that they are legitimately going off of the specific run itself. But there are people that will actually judge based off of the issue as well. I'm just saying in general for the general run. Now, the only reason why Batman got so ridiculously popular as it was is because they gave something to Batman to make him interesting. Samaj, are you telling me that there is absolutely no way that DC can find a way to make someone like, say, the Green Arrow interesting enough to actually have an actually good movie franchise?
I'm saying that movies and comic books are 2 different things.
I am saying that movies and comic books are 2 different things, but the point I am trying to make, however, is, are you saying that DC cannot find a way to make one of their characters more interesting?
Well, first of all, we're not talking DC. We're talking Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is the filmmaking crew that makes it up to making up the movies. Now, I'm saying that they're not capable of doing that. Yes, they do work with DC, but they're not DC. They just work with them. They're the company that has the rights to make the movies.
No, I understand.
They can't make those movies. Same way that Columbian Pictures and Sony couldn't really make a good Ghost Rider movie. It's the exact same thing. No, Warner Brothers cannot do this. They're not able to because they don't know how. Look at their animated movies. That's almost all DC. All right? They know how to make it work. It's pretty obvious here that DC knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking DC. I'm talking Warner Brothers. And I think as a movie company, they're out of touch with the comic book company or the comic book sort of division. They don't have it like a Kevin Feige who knows all about this kind of stuff. They don't have that kind of background and connection. They used to have a more friendly connection back in the day, but not so much anymore.
And then we got stuff like Jonah Hex and Green Lantern.
I forgot about Jonah Hex. Don't talk. Oh, Jonah Hex.
Darnell, you have brought up Jonah Hex like 7 different times on tonight's stream. Shut the fuck up about Jonah Hex already. He's not even a mainstay character in the DC comic books.
You do not know how much I want a fucking cowboy wearing the Confederate flag in a fucking movie.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, there's low risk in side characters like Jonah Hex. That's not part of a big overarching cinematic universe, which could actually be the answer. And it seems like Warner Brothers is actually going to go that route. They're going to make individual movies because Wonder Woman did well because it wasn't really connected to the overarching universe because they were focused on making their stories. Mm-hmm. And that's probably the answer that they're going to be looking for because big universe stuff, they're no good at that.
Okay, so you're telling me that you specifically think that Warner Brothers is the problem. I'm sorry, yeah, Warner Brothers is the problem, correct?
Yeah, and how they run things, yeah. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, you see, the thing is that the Warner Brothers company, you know, the actual Warner Brothers, they own CW. And the CW is the very channel, the very publication company that produces the Arrow TV show. And in its first 2 seasons, gave a darker, grittier, but still funny and entertaining Arrow idea.
The CW is TV, isn't it?
The CW is TV. That's where Warner Brothers basically takes its superhero comic book movie ideas and stuff like that, puts it into a television show.
Are you telling me? Are you telling me that the people who run the TV division also runs the movie divisions?
Unfortunately, we all know for a fact that no one ever consistently runs one thing or another, because except for Kevin Feige, who's been running the MCU since its beginning.
Well, he runs the movies. He doesn't run the TV divisions. That's why
I understand that, but Kevin Feige, people tend to forget this, has been a part of Marvel since before the MCU's conception. Kevin Feige was actually running the Marvel Studios company, well, Marvel Studios branch, since the 90s when they started up with their cartoons with the brand Marvel Studios.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he also involved in the X-Men back in the day?
The Fox movies?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I know he was involved in an earlier.
No, Bryan Singer.
No.
No.
Okay, Kevin Feige's not a director, bro. He's a producer. Actually, Kevin Feige did have a hand in the first 2 X-Men movies, which is one of the reasons why they were so good. But it was after the success of Spider-Man 1 and 2, X-Men 1 and 2, that Kevin Feige, along with Marvel Comics, were trying to get their companies back together again.
Mm.
They were trying to get the properties all together again. And unfortunately, Fox, of course, told Kevin, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
That was a big mistake. But what I'm trying to say and lead into here is that we understand that it is Warner Brothers doing this. And unfortunately, Zell and I know way too much information behind the scenes as to why the DCEU movies have been absolute garbage. And it actually does come from Warner Brothers executives. The ones that had been in charge up until recently, they didn't actually give a flying fuck about the fans. They didn't give a flying fuck about actual good movies and stuff. They didn't care about producing good movies. They gave a fuck about if you take Zack Snyder, very popular fucking director, and you give the brand of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all kinds of other shit to Zack Snyder, you're going to get a fuck ton of fanboys going to see the movie multiple times, because there are actual fanboys out there that think that Zack Snyder is, and believe me, Kadunt and I have actually watched these people try to say these things in our comic book group from Facebook. But
oh, trust me, no, I know exactly what you're going to say.
There are people out there who have actually made the connection, saying that Zack Snyder is the modern day Stanley Kubrick.
Mm-hmm. I've seen this.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Samaj, that's got to be one of those things.
People,
it's like, oh, the headache came back.
I was like, Rockets, I've heard people say that he's better than Stanley Kubrick.
Oh God, that's stupid.
Look, when it comes to Zack Snyder, I think he's a great visionary director. A lot of what he does is very well choreographed, action oriented, and all that. But that's pretty much it. I don't think storyline and performance and directing and all, none of that seems to work out all that well. I mean, and people will say that there's an exception, like look at 300, look at Watchmen. Yeah, these are good.
Watchmen was shit.
Well, yeah, Watchmen was boring. But then again, look at the source material. It's not exactly designed for a 2-hour. Huh?
It's not exactly. It's designed for like conflict. It's more slow-paced movie. I mean, slow-paced book than a.
No. I'm saying in general, even the comic book was shit.
I think, yeah. I mean, that was Alan Moore. Yeah, it was Alan Moore.
For the most part, Alan Moore can do a really good job of taking already established characters like the Joker and Batman and make a really, really good story. One of my favorite Batman stories is The Killing Joke. Killing Joke is one of my absolute favorite stories, and that's a great story Alan Moore wrote. But when Alan Moore is just dropping way too much acid and decides he's going to write his own graphic novel, he basically gives us Batman. every version of Batman you can think of. What do we have in it? We have Batman who's not actual Batman. We have Batman who uses guns. We have chick Batman. We have crazy Batman who fucking never shows any form of skin whatsoever. We have super smart Batman who's gonna kill everybody. We have God Batman. For fuck's sake, the Watchmen was nothing but Batman all over the goddamn place with the occasional Joker personality in there. And it was just fucking irritating. I was just like, can I get a difference? Can I get a change? What the fuck am I reading? What am I watching? What is this?
I was gonna say, Brockets, have you read Pax Americana, which is pretty much like the kind of modern parody of Watchmen?
No, I never saw that.
Never even heard of it.
It's by Grant Morrison because it's pretty much like Watchmen in like the modern day, and it uses the characters that Watchmen was actually originally based on to kind of tell like the almost very similar story. You can really tell like a very stark difference.
You know, those are two guys I would actually two guys in my head. You said Grant Morrison, and it immediately made me think of Chris Claremont. And Chris Claremont and Grant Morrison are two guys I would absolutely love to pick the brains of because, in my opinion, those two guys are legends. Morrison? Oh my god, I think Samaj and I would practically like come the entire time if we actually got to sit down and interview Grant Morrison.
All right, Mr. Morrison, we're gonna start slow and we're gonna do some fucking mess on during this interview. Now we're gonna do roofies. Now we're gonna do coke.
I would probably look in the submission thing for Heavy Metal Magazine, and then maybe I can actually get a chance to talk to him. That would be great.
Right.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, some people tend to forget that Grant Morrison.
He does Heavy Metal Magazine.
Yeah, I think he flat out bought it.
Yeah, he does. He's the owner. He's the owner, the editor.
He's sole owner now. Because Heavy Metal, much like Dark Horse and a few other popular companies that got started up in like the 70s and 80s, pretty much these were companies that had multiple owners, and eventually like someone just bought it out completely. Like Mark Hamill, co-owner of Dark Horse, or at least was a co-owner of Dark Horse. I think he actually sold his rights or shares.
I could see that.
Yeah, but yeah, Morrison is the one who solely owns Heavy Metal now, and it's, if nobody knows what Heavy Metal Magazine is, do yourself a favor, go look it up, go get a couple of articles. Like this shit is, it's art heaven.
I used to get all the time, and some of the stories in there, you know, are messed up and all that stuff, but some of it's just so good. And then they even bring in stories that have been published in different parts of the world, so that's the only way you're going to actually get them in English. There was one of the ones I really liked was an issue it was all of a book called Sky Dolls. It was like a French comic. I don't know if you guys ever read it. I loved it. It was illustrated by a guy who I believe is a former Disney animator, and so it's got a lot of Disney-esque things with lots of sex and violence. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you guys to be honest. Be honest. Did you fap to the Heavy Metal movie?
Yes. It's the first and only time not only, but it was a long time since you ever got to see like animated boobs on the screen.
Right. Darnell, you're young, but I'm pretty sure you've probably seen it.
You're gonna kill me. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill you. Do yourself a favor, go watch Heavy Metal, and I dare you not to try to masturbate to it.
Well, it might be too late because you know porn may have jaded him, but but at the time it was quite magical. Although the weird part is that the first time I ever saw it, was I actually saw it with my mom, and she didn't even know what it was about. She just thought, "Oh, hey, you like cartoons? Here's an interesting one." I'll let you know, on Canadian television, you can actually get away with animated nudity.
Really?
So, yeah, it was one of the benefits that we get. So, well, I think it's partially due to our French connections, oddly enough, because in other parts of the world, nudity is not that big of a deal.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I think that's part of the reason. So, we had a bunch of French cartoons that came over, and I thought, oh, that's interesting.
That is actually interesting. Huh.
Yeah. I think, but yes, the first pair of animated boots was Heavy Metal. The second pair I saw was Ninja Scroll, and oh boy,
Yeah. I think it was the same progression for me. I think I went from Heavy Metal and like naked animated titties, and then it was Ninja Scroll. I rented it at some hobby store. It was primarily an anime store, but like essentially a hobby store itself. And I did not know what I was getting myself into, and there was naked titties and a dude fucking a chick while having a conversation with another chick.
oh yeah.
I didn't know what to think anymore. I was just like, I don't know what this is, but this is the greatest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, you tend to think, yeah, if I was ever in that situation, I wouldn't be able to hold up a conversation. Who the fuck is this guy? But it's animated. They tend to suspend disbelief a fair bit. Speaking of Heavy Metal, since we brought it up, were you guys as disappointed as I was with the second movie, Heavy Metal 2000?
Oh yeah, that was. I think one of the reasons why I didn't like it so much was because like the first Heavy Metal movie followed a general story of that great evil orb, basically like kind of taunting and teasing this girl who's supposed to become the new great warrior that defeats the evil and stuff, and continues to tell it different stories of how amazing it was and different worlds and universes it's been to and conquered and all that shit. And then like you get Heavy Metal 2000 and all of a sudden it's just like, all right, so how can we retard it up? Just crazy shit in space. Gotcha.
What was the great thing about the first movie is that it's essentially just like a Heavy Metal magazine. A Heavy Metal magazine is an anthology of different stories from different artists and different little short things, and it's a great little thing because you just get a series of different stories. And the first movie is essentially that. This great evil is telling you all these different stories of how it affected different parts of the worlds and universes, and it was great. And each story was different. I like one of my favorites was what was that captain's name? The one who was on trial for a series of different things, and he brought in this key witness who had the evil orb, and the key witness was supposed to say all these great Captain so and so is the very cream of human generosity, except when he's raping children. He becomes the Hulk and tries to kill him.
Yeah, that was a personal favorite of mine too.
It's Batman.
Batman McGrath has made his way back onto the Cuntstream.
Hey, how's it going? Sorry about that.
It's okay. Yeah, we were just talking about the Heavy Metal movie.
The movie was awesome.
It was, wasn't it? It was so good. Poor Darnell here hasn't seen it yet. He needs to watch it.
Well, he is 12,
man.
so that makes sense.
I am not 12.
First time I saw that movie, I was staying at my grandma's place, who was hardcore Christian, couldn't watch The Simpsons because it was too bad, stuff like that. I'm in my room flicking through channels, and I find that on TV, and I just watched the fuck out of it. Oh, it was great.
It was, wasn't it? It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Were you? What's your opinions on the sequel, Heavy Metal 2000?
I actually haven't seen Heavy Metal 2000.
It is. I'll tell you right now, it's pretty bad. They do away with that anthology short story scenario and just go with a big plot, and it kind of drags on.
Really? That's weird.
And disappointing.
I don't know why they decided to do it that way, but like, yeah, it was just, it still has that element of the great evil, but it's in the form of some like highly corrupted crystal that miners found on some meteor or some shit like that. The guy goes batshit crazy, hijacks the mining ship that he was on, and just decides to like travel the fucking world to like gain immortality or some shit. It's just one giant mess of a fucking movie. Honestly, the only real reason why I even watched it a second time was because, like, dude, that animation gore was fucking intense. And
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
naked titties. So
Yeah, naked titties, of course.
Mm.
No, you
Yeah.
can't go out there.
Wait, what?
I think
So
it's
I got
time
my
for
kid
a
with me too.
Yeah,
My kid's
Oh.
in here too.
makes
Oh,
sense.
okay. Here we were talking about titties and stuff on shows. Very family friendly.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Bring
So
your
proud of my
kids.
daughter.
Let them learn this ahead of time. They'll learn one day.
Dude, I still think. Sorry, I won't go on to dad shit.
That's okay.
Friggin'. Fucking. I can't imagine this. I've heard about the second heavy metal movie. I didn't think it was a movie that needed a sequel per se. I don't know.
You know,
That's my view.
the movie was such a it was almost like a film festival for all the little like stories they would tell. And I do believe that each little story was actually a published thing in heavy metal. So I think that's part of the reason they went with it. That and the soundtrack is amazing.
Soundtrack was awesome.
It was so good. But I think if they kept that up, it would have been great. Like I don't see a reason why they can't make a new heavy metal movie every couple of years, and just sort of have different animation. And,
I agree. I think the world needs one now.
oh, I'd love that.
I think we definitely need a heavy metal movie.
We're not going to get it. That's the sad part. Like if we could get AP and Gasoline, or at least AP, to basically point out why we would not be able to have something like that, that would be awesome. But yeah, that's one of those projects that no one will actually greenlight.
Well,
Oh no.
I think I tend to disagree because we've seen an increase in things like anime, and with a lot of anime, we see a lot of gore. We see a lot of things that people have been missing, especially after the huge success of Devilman Crybaby on Netflix, which is all gore and nudity and all that kind of stuff. And people, like, there's a huge following on that one, to the point where the old Devilman movies, from what I can tell from conversations on various different anime groups, it's actually been increasing. A lot of people are watching this old horror stuff all over again. So I think there is an audience out for it, and it's just a matter of who's going to take the risk to actually make it.
Oh, I'm not saying there isn't an audience. Some
Oh,
audience.
yeah,
We've made it abundantly clear with like people like myself, Batman McGrath, you, Darnell, AP, and so many other YouTubers who talk about the things that we loved as a kid, or things we wish we could see and shit like that. There is a massive audience for things like this. The problem is Hollywood will not take the risk that should be taken.
I mean, sorry, but could I just pop in? Kind of a big example. We all know about Star Trek. We all know about things like Discovery and the J.J. Abrams movies. Guess what they just announced? The newest director in the premise of the next Star Trek movie.
Oh yeah, it's Quentin Tarantino.
No, it's not Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, not that one.
Nope. Hold on. Let me look up the name of the new director.
Why would you bring it up if you didn't have the information?
I forgot the name, but it also, because it's the perfect time to buzz in. I didn't know when we're gonna hit it. But pretty much the new premise is Captain Kirk is gonna try and travel and meet his dad when he was a captain.
What?
And yeah, S.J. Clarkson is gonna be the next director.
Who's? Oh, okay. That the woman, right? The female director.
Yeah.
The woman.
The woman.
She's one letter away from being that dirty initialism we don't like.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, that's all I heard when you said the name.
Well, the reason why I say the woman is because that's all I've ever heard. Because
She's
it's
the first female director.
She's
the first female director.
Well, of course she looks familiar. She's wearing the problematic glasses. That looks like every single person that you don't ever want to talk to ever.
That is true as well.
It's fucking,
and the bitch look.
It's not even just that. Like, okay, do you guys honestly like, if you never knew what Zack Snyder looked like, if you never knew what Steven Spielberg looked like, or if you never knew what George Lucas looked like, would you give a fuck that these were three white men?
No.
No.
I mean, once again, give me Spielberg, and I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I'm gonna imagine the hands shifting kind of Jewy look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough on the Spielberg one, but no, that's my point though. Is that people put way too much thought and belief and idea into the genitals of their directors or the fucking skin tone of their directors. Who's in charge of this movie? Oh, well, the only reason why this movie did good was because it was done by a straight white male. Whatever the fucking case is, they put way too much emphasis on this and then turn around and tell us that we're the bigots.
And not just that, once again, my biggest problem is you're doing another goddamn Captain Kirk movie. Dude, go further. Go further. We have Next Generation. We have DS9. If you're going to go with
I agree. I think we need a DS9 movie.
Well, I think they also have to be careful because the Next Generation fandom, I think, is maybe more rabid and passionate than the basic Star Trek fandom.
Mostly absolutely. TOS fans are way more mellow, but the Next Generation fans don't touch their sanctuary. They'll kill you.
I count myself under under that group because I love Next Generation. Hell, we could practically get failure.
I love all Star Trek. Sorry, I did interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. We can even get failure on here because I know he's been binging the Star Trek stuff. And
him and Peyton Allen.
Oh, and Aiden, yeah, we're all a bunch of.
Did you call her Peyton Allen?
What the fuck? Sometimes my brain confuses words.
And this is why you're still in school. Anyway, Next Generation, love it. And the idea of like getting Quentin Tarantino, I think he was supposed to do a Next Generation-esque kind of a movie. I'm okay with that. I want to see what he's going to do. If it's bad, I'll say so. I'll say that's terrible. How dare you you ruined my childhood.
You ruined my childhood. I liked what JJ did with his Star Trek movies. Like, I'm not going to say they're better than like any of the shows or anything, but his story on how it pretty much says right at the beginning, this is totally a different fucking thing. We're not in that universe. I liked what he did.
Yeah, I think you can get away with a lot and saying, look, it's just not part of the same universe. It's a different, maybe parallel universe, which is not unusual. I mean, the original Star Trek had parallel universes. Let's not forget Evil Spock.
I mean, I was gonna say this. The whole point of Discovery, it's like, oh, hey, guess what? We're fighting the mirror universe, and so on and so on. But it's like, that's exactly almost why I'm thinking, why not go that angle? Why not do like what the fans been doing with Next Generation and have a movie where it's Picard fighting the mirror universe of himself, or like I said, DS9, and have a entire Dominion war or a mirror universe and a thing. It's like, god damn it, you keep throwing like, hey, we're repeating everything, but here's the new camouflage because it's a female actress, it's a female director or some shit like that.
Isn't that what Discovery's doing? Is the whole mirror universe? I stopped.
That's literally exactly what I just said.
Yeah, sorry, I was just making sure I heard that right. Because when it came back, I watched the first episode, and then after my little seizure and conniption fit, I kind of just stopped.
I'm surrounded by Trekkies.
One of us, assimilate him.
You can fuck off with your Borg shit. I will smack the dick off you.
I'm not gonna lie, like I like the Borg, but yeah, I'm kind of over the Borg as well.
They overdid it a little bit. It was cool for a bit because it's essentially zombies in space.
Yeah, robot zombies.
Yeah, and I think that's also why it freaked me out so much. The Borg were always the most creepiest thing for me to watch because I get zombies are legit scare me. So yeah. And that's also why I don't watch The Walking Dead. Huh?
That's also why I don't.
Man, Walking Dead has pissed me off so much.
They can't reach you from the TV screen, right?
I'm well aware of that. I'm not watching it.
Do you need a pillow to hug someone while you're watching it?
Well, mostly I need a diaper, but I mean, no,
God
I'm not.
Damn it, Samash.
It's not a sex thing. I swear. It's because of zombies. All right.
No, but
You know,
I think that's the saddest part about this whole situation is you guys are talking about Star Trek
Hey, Dimitri.
happening. It's just kind of, did you say Dimitri's back?
Yep.
Oh,
Hold on. There you go, buddy.
yeah, the good one.
Is he on a bunk bed?
Yep.
Oh. I would say that's sad, but I am living with my mother, so. All right, so Star Trek. My
Oh,
God.
Ah, yeah, the good one.
See, the thing that kind of it's disturbing as fuck because when you think about it, Star Trek is like one of those shows. TOS is upset. Like a lot of the SJWs nowadays, a lot of the hipsters, they're obsessed with TOS.
I'll call you and then when we start talking back about
Mute yourself if you're gonna talk without somebody else. Jesus. It makes me so angry I can't even speak. But basically, like
No.
SJWs and hipsters nowadays, they're like super obsessed with TOS and everything like that. They think it's like the greatest thing that ever happened. When realistically, it's all right. It was good. It's great. It's fantastic. But like they try to put it on a pedestal it doesn't actually deserve to be on and shit. And so I think one of the main reasons why Discovery is at the timeline it is because the creators of Discovery are stupid obsessed with TOS and they want to give some kind of a new feel, a new spin on it and stuff like that. And unfortunately, this has actually been a series that has pissed a lot of Trek fans off. Now, some of them have kind of enjoyed it and others have basically sat there and just been like, why did you have to destroy TOS's continuity like this? Why did you do this? Why?
Oh, dude. You know what really got to me about Discovery? The one thing that really pissed me off the whole time, out of the whole series, Logic Terrorist. The fuck?
Wait, what?
Always is that the Vulcan terrorists?
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that blow themselves up. What kind of logic is that?
E equals MC square.
I haven't been watching Discovery. Is this really a thing?
Yes,
it is a fucking thing.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
so
boy.
okay. So Maj, you remember that episode in The Next Generation where we had Vulcan terrorists and their time things like, no, we want to be segregationist, and you had that entire thing with Picard and Riker pretending to be pirates. Imagine that movement, but stupider by literally just blowing themselves up.
Yeah, all because of Spock's dad fucking like adopting fucking what's her bitch.
Burnham.
Yeah. It was,
Why?
oh my god, it was just so fucking retarded.
And once again, that's almost a stupid thing when you think about it. They're doing it because he adopted a human, not because he married a human and bred a halfling.
Yeah. It's just, there's just no way to put any type of logic to it.
It's like I said, it feels like down to the point like, okay, you married outside and you bred with these disgusting things. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense and kind of similar to the Romulan situation. But it's like, wait, no, you adopted? No, because we've seen that aliens adopt other races all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Although to the show's benefit, you do get to see Klingon tits.
Uh-huh.
From all the pictures I have seen, she seems to be very scaly and almost bone-like. I don't know. The Klingons have been very weird in this show.
Yes, they I thought they looked more like orcs to me. And I don't remember like in any rendition of any Klingons looking like fucking orcs. They look like orcs.
Someone also said that they were essentially like Trump supporters or something.
Yeah, that was when the show was coming out, the guy making it or the people making it said that they use Trump supporters as their
Their premise for the Klingons.
Yeah.
Basically, the Klingons are an allegory for Trump supporters.
What the fuck
which is fucked up because like they are nothing, and I'm not meaning like of course Trump supporters are nothing like this, but like even people saying the worst things about Trump supporters are nothing like the Klingons in this. The Klingons are just retarded, man. They got no honor whatsoever. I mean, I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. They got that one ship that's just a ship of like caskets, which is like cool in a way, weird. I don't know. They're just weird. I have a hard time following them too. They the subtitles go by really fast.
I hear that. Yeah, I've heard that the subtitles go by fast, and then the actual Klingon language it goes by real slow.
Yeah,
it's a very inconsistent series.
Yeah, and you can also tell they're talking through makeup as well. I mean, it's kind of like the Planet of the Apes. You just tell that they're just talking through makeup. They got all that shit just making it hard for them to talk.
Because their mouths don't even fucking move the way they should. But yeah, that's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Like, even when Hollywood presents you with a slightly new idea where it's just like, hey, we're going to give this thing to you, and it's, a new spin on an old idea, blah, blah, whatever the case is. For so long, Hollywood has been just giving garbage. And I'm specifically saying Hollywood as a general thing for media, television shows, movies, and things like that. Star Trek Discovery definitely took a hit because there was so much political propaganda. There was so much SJW push in certain things and shit. And it's just, again, it pissed off a lot of Trek fans. And then we look over at the Star Wars movies. The Force Awakens was a rehash of episode 4. Now, originally, I didn't have a problem with that, but then I watched episode fucking 8, and I'm just like, okay, now I'm pissed.
Do you hear what JJ said about that?
What?
This is just my take on what he said, but in a nutshell, pretty much what he's going to do for 9 is pretty much redo 8 in some type of Star Trek time fucking thing. He said that some ship is going to blow up, is going to send them back in time, and they're pretty much going to redo 8. He didn't like the way they went, and this is my take on it. He was just like, fuck what they did. They fucked everything up. I'm just going to fucking redo it for 9.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish you would have just actually said that. Just, said, gonna fuck, fuck all them, fuck Rose, fuck the casino scene. We're just going to redo 8. We're gonna have another fucking couple years of this, people. Just hang in there with me.
What they should just do is say, look, we're gonna retcon 8. We're just that just doesn't exist. Okay, let's all pretend that doesn't exist. JJ will redo it, and then Steven Spielberg will direct the last one.
That'd be interesting.
I think they have the money; they can make it happen. You hire Steven Spielberg to make it happen. Although I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. If I had to guess, like how they're going to do future Star Wars movies, my money's on, and I've said it before, I think it's actually going to be Josh Whedon. And the reason why I also say that is because he was supposed to do all those DC superhero movies. Haven't heard anything about that. We know that he's no longer working on Batgirl. But even though he's supposedly no longer at Disney or whatever, he's still showing up for red carpet events. He's not contractually obligated to do that, as far as we can tell. But he's still showing up to all these other red carpets for all these different movies, for all these Disney movies. So people are assuming he's trying to get in good faith, or that they're trying to make people think that he's in on good faith.
It could just be that he made a lot of friends over there, so he's probably going to support his friends and stuff.
It could also be that, but if I was him, especially with the way Warner Bros. Runs their movies, I'd say
friends.
We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, I think he should definitely try his best to get back into Disney's good graces.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to step by. What I miss?
I want Josh Whedon to direct Star Wars. He might be an SJW, but he's way more competent than anyone.
I wouldn't go as far as saying that Joss Whedon is an SJW. He's just one of those people that caves under pressure. Not so much that he caves under pressure or anything like that, but he's one of those guys that will just, he'll conform to whatever he has to just to stay relevant or to basically, keep in the game and shit like that.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I feel that's how most Hollywood is. They don't. A lot of them, they aren't really SJWs per se. They're just trying to like make themselves look like nice people.
Yeah, they don't necessarily give a shit about the movement. They don't give a shit about the ideas. They don't give a shit about the extreme leftist personas and stuff like that. They're just, I guess you could say they're just pandering, so they shut the fuck up. That's pretty much all it was.
The only problem is they don't shut the fuck up.
Well, that raises an interesting question. Kathleen Kennedy, do you think she's doing that, or do you think she actually believes it?
I actually do think that Kathleen Kennedy will use any and every single possible movement out there to push everything she can. I think she's the double-headed snake. On one head, she is just for the money. She doesn't give a fuck about your actual movement. She'll hold up a sign saying Black Lives Matter, but not really give two shits about the actual movement, whatever the case is. And on the other hand, she probably does really give into the feminism stuff. Not all the horrible, disgusting shit, but she will give into that whole wage gap thing, not enough representation thing, stuff like that. She'll just probably give in and believe in some of the more ridiculous ideas and shit, and it's probably just to fuel the other head. I think that's the only reason why she does it. But most of these people do not fucking care. You can tell they just really do not fucking care. They'll apologize because they have to. They'll apologize or they'll pander because they want your money. They don't fucking care what you believe. They want your business. So they'll pander to your ideologies and stuff, which is probably why Star Trek Discovery has so much mixed reviews, because there are people out there that actually see a bunch of SJW pandering in the show, and then there are other people that they don't notice it because they don't give a shit. And if you don't give a shit, then you're not going to notice it.
I'll admit, as for Star Trek Discovery, I didn't really see a lot of SJW pandering. There was some, but I feel like they were just, putting it in there not just for that, but just trying to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just a fan that was just super critical of it. Not kind of super critical.
Yeah,
I'll give this for Discovery. After watching Enterprise, I would much rather watch Discovery.
Really, I liked Enterprise.
It's a song. It's a theme song. I can't stand it.
I agree. The theme song. I feel kind of the same way about Discovery's theme song. Like it was more towards a Star Trek like theme song, but I still didn't really like it all that much. But yeah, I could when I watched. Oh my god, I forgot the goddamn ship's name.
The Enterprise.
Enterprise. When I watched Enterprise, I watched it on Netflix, and I just skipped the theme song every time.
Yeah, fair enough.
It sounds like Dawson's Creek more than in Star Trek.
Yeah, isn't it?
I think they want to give it a more homey kind of a feel, but it also sounds kind of like a country song, the type of songs I fucking hate. So it didn't really work for me. I like my sci-fi to have more of a sci-fi kind of a feel, and I think especially Next Generation had definitely a more orchestral kind of thing, and I fucking love Next Generation. I can't not gush over it.
I know.
Next Generation was awesome. I don't think I actually have an absolute favorite, but if I had to choose, I would probably say DS9 or Voyager.
Yeah, I would say DS9 because I just love the characters and the Ferengi and things like that.
Oh yeah, and what I liked about Voyager was that it got back to the basics of Star Trek, which is supposed to be exploration, and that's all Voyager was. They were in a totally new part of space, and they were for the most part exploring. I mean, they were trying to get home, but I mean, they were still seeing new stuff. There was still that wonder and all that shit.
My only problem with Voyager is it didn't really add to the whole concept of women in positions of power, because how many times
Totally.
How many times we're in a sticky situation? Maybe we should use diplomacy. I will fucking kill everyone on this ship.
I mean, but isn't that also like the entire point why, like, by the end, Janeway was just like promoted to admiral just so like she wouldn't be captain anymore? Like, think about it. Picard never becomes admiral. He still remains Captain Picard. Meanwhile, Janeway is a fucking admiral by the end by Nemesis, and it's like, oh yeah, this Janeway is fucking horrible.
I would love to, if I was on a ship like that. I definitely go on a ship with Picard. I mean, he's definitely the guy.
Totally.
He's the kind of guy I totally would like to serve under. Kirk, not so much. He's a bit of a take a lot of risks, bit of a jerk. I'm pretty sure he'd fly and risk everyone on board just for a booty call.
No.
I don't know.
Would be the booty call
He liked his crew way more than he liked other women. He was slapping bitches left and right when they threatened when they threatened the crew.
Oh, you don't see that anymore. Oh god, just if a bitch be crazy, you don't just slap her.
No, but Mark, you remember that episode where like McCoy had to like take care of a pregnant woman and she would slap him every time he would like try to touch her stomach, so he just like decks one across her face. And she's like so impressed with him, she names the baby after him.
It was a different time. Back then, you could punch a pregnant woman and she named the kid after you.
Wow.
I know. It's really one of my favorite episodes because it's actually really well written. But people, go see that episode. It is fucking amazing because throughout all of it, she's like, "Don't touch me. Only my husband can touch me, and he's dead." And she just goes, "I'm a goddamn doctor."
Well, I shouldn't find domestic abuse so funny, but kind of.
We shouldn't, but damn it, sometimes it is.
Again, context matters, damn it. Like,
Yeah, context definitely matters. I mean, if McCoy was just walking around fucking punching women left and right, I wouldn't find it funny. But in this case, it's totally different.
And it's not because he's like just goes like slightly. It's just like a fucking bitch slap.
Follows through and everything.
I found it. Here it is.
But like, here's the thing. Okay, so, that's just too funny. But like, this was during a time. This really was during a time when people were trying to entertain everyone. You know, back in the 60s, back in the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s, television shows were designed and created specifically to entertain people. Some shows were actually made to make you think, like Star Trek even. It was designed to entertain you, but also make you think about things. And if it wasn't for Star Trek, we would have never had a lot of things nowadays, because super nerds back in the 60s were like so obsessed with Star Trek, they wanted to have the Trek tech for reals, so they did everything they could to actually make it, hence cell phones. But
are you telling me in my hands right now is a tricorder?
Yes.
My God, we are in the future.
Dude, I saw a thing, there was a post for this item. I almost orgasmed until I saw how much money it was, and then I lost my boner, but it was a phaser that's a remote for your TV. I fucking wanted it until I saw it was $150. I was like, I'm okay.
You just build your own.
Not that much of a damn nerd.
Yeah, right.
This is still a scene that has burned into my mind ever since.
Fair enough. But yeah, this was a time when television shows and movies were actually designed and created to entertain people and stuff. I think because of how lucrative entertainment really is, how lucrative television shows and movies really can be and such, and how everybody really does want to get into the business itself. Like, everyone has been so enthralled with the whole Hollywood magic and fame and fortune and all that stuff. You know, you get paid to stand in front of the camera and pretend to be someone else, all that stuff. And somewhere down the line, the people who turned into the ones in charge, they stopped caring about entertaining people and they started only wanting money. And this is my biggest problem, because the more I think about it, the more I realize the MCU is a good example of a fantastic franchise that has been going on strong for 10 years now. But has suffered many hits in their lacking of actual entertainment. Take, for example, some of the last MCU movies that we've gotten so far, not counting Infinity Wars, but look at Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Thor Ragnarok. Now, Thor Ragnarok is a movie that has some mixed reviews. Some people say it's way too goofy, it's way too childish. Like, I can't take that movie seriously, blah, blah, blah. But then you look at it and it's like, if you just watch it from a purely entertainment sort of view, that's exactly what you're getting. You're just getting a purely entertaining movie that will sometimes kind of do a bit of a tearjerker moment. And that's all Thor Ragnarok was. And then you look over at Guardians of the Galaxy, and Guardians of the Galaxy is a fucking hot mess. It's 5 stories in 1 2.5 hour flick, and you just don't know what story to try to focus on because it's trying to tell you focus on all 5 of them at the same time. And I don't know what to think. Like, I want to care about Peter and his father, but at the same time, like, they're kind of just redoing the Peter and his father or Peter and his mother stuff from the first movie. And then there's Gamora and Nebula, and they've got that sisterly bond type thing going on, but Nebula's being a cunt about it. And then Gamora realizes, oh no, I've actually been the one who's been a cunt this entire time. Then you got Rocket having his fucking abandonment issues with Peter Quill. And then you've got fucking Mantis and Drax being like, probably the only real good focus in the goddamn movie. But after a while, you kind of think maybe less of this and more of something else. I don't know.
I agree. The best way I describe that fucking movie and how weird it is with the story, at the beginning, Gamora's like, you need to go and fucking be with your dad. And then later on, not even like 30 minutes later, she's like, maybe you shouldn't trust him.
Right? Like, that was such a fucking random goddamn... like, you can't even tell. Was that a face turn or a heel turn? I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah,
go and be with your dad.
She has no reason to even say anything like that. Just out of nowhere, she's just like, you know what? I think he's got something planned. Okay, what's your evidence?
And
I don't trust him. He's too much like you.
No, it wasn't. He's too much.
No. That's what I would have said as a joke.
Yeah, well, yeah, that actually would have worked too. But like, dude, that's what I'm talking about, though. Like, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie was fucking awesome. It was fucking amazing. People loved it. It was great, and it was one of those movies from the comic books that people didn't expect to actually happen because Kevin Feige was just so drunk on fucking, like, you know, we can't do wrong. What's the weirdest comic book Marvel has? Guardians of the Galaxy? That sounds weird. Fucking yeah, let's make a movie out of it. And it was a success. And the next movie, it looked like 5 different directors trying to make a movie, and they just kind of clipped it all together.
Yeah, all of them drunk and on some form of drugs.
Yeah, and then Kevin comes back and he's like, I left you guys in charge for 20 minutes.
Okay,
what happened?
Okay. Who did the acid out of those 5 directors?
The director that fucking thought up the fucking space jumping thing. That one was on acid.
Yeah, that's the one that was on acid. The one that was on shrooms was the one who created Mantis's personality on screen.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That was the guy who was on shrooms because he also created the planet.
You know, the guy who was doing the dope was probably the one who said, "Oh yeah, let's have all the gold people play video games."
Right.
Yeah. Right.
He was just really fucking big, thinking, you know, it'd be cool, man. Put him in an arcade, and that's how they fight.
Stallone. Pretty much, it wasn't even just another director. It was just Stallone drinking during all the Stallone star. Fuck, what's his name? You know what I'm talking about? That and that Snow Hooker Planet.
Oh yeah.
Which, being a Disney movie, I'm surprised they did that. And you know what also surprised me? How popular those hooker bots were. I saw at the last convention I went to, there was a lot of women. Like, when I say a lot, maybe about 5 women altogether. That's more than average.
That's more than Samaj sees normally.
Yeah, that's. I saw like 5 hooker
Trying
bots.
to be hooker bots.
Yeah, I look at that. I'm like, wow.
Don't objectify me. Really, bitch? Really? You are playing the role of a character called Hookerbot. and you tell me not to object? Bitch, you did it before you even got here.
If I give you how much would I get for a Bitcoin?
A big corn?
A Bitcoin.
How much could I get for Bitcoin?
1 Bitcoin, she'll swallow a fish.
I think he was trying to say Bitcoin is like a sex move or some shit like that. How much for a Bitcoin? Like, it's basically she gives you a blowjob and puts a quarter up your ass.
God, I wonder if anybody's actually going to make up a sex move called the Bitcoin now.
All
I
right.
guess you actually did.
Dimitri, we're making up a new sex move.
I'm pretty sure Sophie and her Fat Pat have been working on something along those lines. So, yeah.
So what do you call this? I got the special for you, honey. It's called the Bitcoin. Oh, okay. Well, what do we do? Just stay right there. Just assume the position.
Just close your eyes.
I'm gonna make you overheat, and it's gonna be worth a lot of money.
Jam this $10 worth of quarters up your ass.
Oh god!
$10 worth of quarters up your ass and watch it all sprinkle down.
I pray God Failures not watching this because I might go to Vegas sometime. He said, "I'm going to get you drunk and we're going to get you laid." I'm like, "Don't you dare! I don't trust you."
I don't trust anybody that says anything like that going anywhere. Hey, I'm going to get you drunk and get you laid. Yeah, it's going to be a guy, isn't it?
There's a good possibility that you will become a brand new member of the Trapno State.
Okay.
Or an honorary member.
Okay, so I just want to announce to everyone, my fucking roommate is saying what the fuck is wrong with, and that we need Jesus.
Jesus.
We have Odin. We do not need your Jesus.
Besides, this is no time to be making enemies. Don't you know? Galactus is coming.
Galactus is high.
That's my favorite thing. I've seen a couple Deadpool cosplayers with those signs.
Dark side is nigh.
Dark side is nigh, yes.
I am interested to see what DC EU is going to do with Darkseid.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they're
not going to do it.
No.
If they are, it's going to be like 6 or 7 movies down the line. I think they're going to be like a series of Batman movies. I think there's even like a prequel Batman in development. What's their other one? I know Wonder Woman.
Gotham already. Can we have that fucking up Batman story? Can't we just stick with that?
We were talking about that earlier. I mean, TV will never interact with the movies, so
yeah,
we gotta give an origin story about what happened to Robin. So there'll be him.
It's gonna have to be that Batman Deathstroke movie.
Yeah, I can't wait. I am actually interested to see how the Batman movie is going to be. I don't know exactly how much Snyder has to do with it or anything. Although I will say, like, the Snyder cuts to the movies are actually pretty fucking good. I don't think it's Snyder that's the problem. And as you guys said, it's WB.
It is mostly WB, but Zack Snyder is part of the problem.
He definitely is part of the problem.
He's one of those guys that he got really big and really well known for movies like 300 and Watchmen. And for some reason, he thinks, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So he just keeps repeating the same fucking bullshit formula over and over again. Like, I will actually say I do applaud Zack Snyder for giving me something that I've wanted for quite a while. And that is a more humanized, dark and gritty version of Superman. So Man of Steel was actually entertaining because it's probably the best Superman movie I think I've ever actually seen. And one of my reasons for that is because when Superman fights in the previous movies or when he fights in the comic books, most of the time he's not really destroying the city around him. He's not really destroying the property around him, or you're not seeing a lot of collateral damage happening because he's having a super fight with some fucking Darkseid-like character or whatever the case is and shit. And it gets very tiring and very old when you see this superhero not seeing any fucking like backlash or ramifications for his actions and shit. And Man of Steel gave me that. If not just a little bit, still they gave me enough of it to where I'm like, thank you for actually being way more realistic about this. But the rest of the movie, if you try to actually think about the plot too much, you're gonna fucking go crazy because there's so much stupidity in that damn story that it just I want to punch Zach in the balls or something.
Tornado.
Yeah, the tornado part. That's what I was gonna bring up. The tornado part was just fucking dumb. Fucking Kevin Costner's just like, no, wait, let it happen. Just let it happen.
No,
I could save you.
dog.
I really can. I
Save
could
the
do it
dog,
fast and
not
overseas.
me.
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying save the dog, not me.
Yeah, save the dog, not me. Fucking Kevin Costner. And him saying, you know, I don't care how anybody interprets it, he pretty much just did say, maybe you should have let those kids die.
That
I mean, little Susie didn't. Little Susie, we all know little Susie does tricks down the pond. I mean, is everyone really gonna care about her?
Right? And that fucking bully kid. But I've had arguments with people with that. You know, the DCEU fanatics who fucking love those movies, regardless of what you say. They're like, he didn't technically say it. He's like, no, he did. He said maybe you should have just let him die.
It's like when you go on the one night stand and you're saying, well, maybe what are we gonna do about it? Are we gonna keep it or are we gonna go with plan B?
Right. And as for Batman vs Superman, this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. While I will agree that like Civil War is a better movie, it is still on par with fucking Civil War in its story. Both of them just had ridiculous fucking stories.
Well, no, actually, okay. This is the Batman versus Superman and Civil War argument I continuously seem to have.
Yeah, I have it on a lot too. I'm sorry, I had to bring it up.
No, it's fine. It's fine. When it came to Batman versus Superman, there were way too many elements, way too many things that we ourselves know about. I mean, granted, this is the new movieverse versions, so we don't know that much about them and stuff. But there are still a lot of problems that I have with Batman versus Superman in comparison to Civil War. Now, Civil War had an actual build-up. We had several movies of each of these characters, whether they had their own movies or they cameoed in other movies and such. With, of course, the appearance of both Black Panther and Spider-Man in this one, or in Civil War specifically. Now, with it, we actually had a real good organic feel of why this buildup could actually happen. So when you see the conflict between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, you actually feel a conflict between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark because Tony is kind of doing a complete 180 turn on how he was in the movies prior to this one. And there's Steve not really changing all that much, but now it's a battle of morality. What is right? What is wrong?
Well, actually, I would say that he also does change because in the original, he is supposed to be like the ultimate government laptop after he gets Winter Soldier. He's completely distrustful of almost anyone that he doesn't know personally.
The only conflict in it, though, was just Bucky. That was really it, though. There wasn't really the politics thing. I mean, it was kind of there, but it took a definite third seat to fucking Bucky. Bucky was the main fucking struggle between Captain America and Iron Man. That was my whole problem with it.
Well, that's the thing, though, is
dispute.
Yeah, but that's the point, though, is that when you actually think about when you really just kind of think about the actual conflict, what is the main focus? Well, Bucky had been brainwashed for an extremely long period of his time. He had no real control over what he was doing, and yet he's continuously being treated like he's just some murderous psychopath who goes around and kills people for the fucking lulz of it. And Steve and his friend Sam and even Natasha are basically the only ones sitting there going, no, that's not the fucking case here. And stop treating people like they aren't what they are.
Also guilty to prove innocent because again, look at how very easily they're going with the whole like, oh, we want to register people. We're accusing you before you even have the trial.
That's the whole thing. There were people that were automatically guilty before they even had a trial. They were just automatically guilty.
Because there was
again, this is a morality argument. If you read the comic books like I have, and I'm sure you guys have as well.
Oh yeah.
Then
that's pissed me off the most. So go ahead.
It was a much bigger scale. It was a much more interesting story. It had depth. It had real heartbreaking moments. Like when Tony and Peter actually fight in the comic book, it's fucking heartbreaking because you see what's going on with Peter, why he's so conflicted. And in the movie, all of the Peter confliction is in Steve. And Steve doesn't even get to say one of his most iconic speeches. It's actually his ex-girlfriend's niece who actually says it, which kind of reinvigorates Steve and all that stuff. But like Civil War, you can say a lot of great things about it, but you cannot say good things about Batman versus Superman. I'm sorry. Here's how I'm gonna pick this shit apart real goddamn fast. One, in the movie, they repeat on multiple occasions that Batman had been a superhero, a Batman had been Batman for 20 fucking years. And in this movie series, not once does anyone act like they've met this guy before or seen him or knew what he was doing. That somehow a dude dressed in a fucking bat suit, kicking criminals' asses and violent fucking mobsters' asses for 20 fucking years suddenly comes back after years of retirement and shit, and all of a sudden everyone's just like, this guy, this bat symbol is something new we've never seen. Are you fucking kidding me? No! Batman has been around for 20 years, but no one remembers him. Okay,
Yeah,
that's complete horse shit right there. That automatically is complete and utter horse shit right there. And then we continue on. Batman does a little bit of detective, but for some reason isn't smart enough to actually see through Lex Luthor's obvious bullshit plot. Really?
Yeah. But Civil War has the same thing. I mean, look at when they were going after Bucky, when they were, they had that really blurry picture of a white guy with long hair and a baseball cap, and suddenly even freaking Iron Man's like, kill him. Let's just go kill this guy. No detective work, and the only one is saying anything is fucking Captain America, and we said all this, but it's the same thing. There's no both stories. When you look at them, they're just there to push the end game, which is Batman versus Superman, Iron Man versus Captain America. That's all the stories were there for. It was just all jumbled crap that was just there to be like, hey, don't worry, you keep watching. At the end, you're going to get the payoff of this big ass fight. All this other stuff, it doesn't matter. It's just all build up to the final fight.
Okay.
To be fair, I mean, at that point, Iron Man had already signed the Sokovia Accord. At that point, he was just an agent for the government. A lot of what he was doing, he was essentially told to. It didn't become incredibly personal until after he found out about, that Bucky killed his parents.
Yeah, let's talk about how his parents died. Somewhere in the woods on a road with no cameras, I may add. They have cameras of fucking Bucky killing his fucking mom and dad, and like fucking I just thought that whole premise was just retarded and dumb.
Okay,
I think
that element in and of itself was really, really fucking stupid, because I got to give you credit on that one for pointing that out, because I actually just rewatched it last night. And when I got to that part, I was just like, wait, why would there be a fucking camera there of all places?
Right? Exactly, man. And like, I talked to somebody who was like, well, they had the camera set up so they could verify that he died. Bitch, are you serious? He followed them. He didn't know where the fuck they were. He followed them and took them out at that point. They could have went anywhere. There was no planning.
Well, I think that there probably was some planning, because they did set up the cameras, and Hydra or whoever it was, they've been sort of planning stuff out in a while. I mean, chances are you could use footage like that to just sort of break and destroy Tony Stark, who eventually would have, of course, become like the owner of Stark Industry. And, if you wanted to disturb a man and make him do stupid things, you could sort of do...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you could do something like that, like show him the footage of his parents getting killed. And
I just thought it was just like some random camera that they just like, okay, we have very high probabilities of truckers killing hookers in this area. Let's put security cameras there.
I do think that the camera was put there for a reason. And I don't think we'll know exactly why, because that requires a certain amount of interest that I don't think the audience really has.
Yeah, but that's that's fan theory and speculation. I mean, all we have is that there was this random camera out in the woods on this fucking lonely road where nobody's going at, where nobody drives, and Bucky just happens to take them out there where this one camera just happens to be.
Right.
And then
But then,
freaking and go ahead. Sorry.
well, I mean, you also have to remember. I mean, Bucky, of course, killed the Starks, and that they're them being a wealthy family, and then of course stole all that other kind of stuff. It's like, would they know that they would have that? I mean, that chemical stuff they would use to make the super soldiers, that would probably be carried and then maintained by like military or different corporations. Why would you give it to an owner? That seems like something that only I don't know, like if you're trying to do it by secret, like just I mean, I highly doubt, let's say like Steve Jobs would carry like the information for his entire company on him at all times. I think that's something that would be held by somewhere else.
I
Agreed.
mean,
That does seem a bit weak.
that's kind of the similar thing they do with the Coca-Cola thing, where it's like not the two people that know the formula aren't there at the same time ever.
Agreed. And I thought Zemo's fucking his whole thing was really forced and just it's just forced. It was like last minute they needed a villain, so let's just throw in Zemo. But he was just as bad as fucking Lex Luthor. Don't get me wrong. Both of those people, they really shouldn't have been in the movies at all at this point, at the very least, because both of them, their stories were just all over the place, just kind of cliche-ish and just weird. And they both were not like the characters are supposed to be. I don't care if it's Lex Jr. or not. They were not the characters at all.
And now, I'm not all that familiar with Zemo. Isn't he supposed to be wearing a mask, like a hood or
Yeah,
something over his
wearing a
face?
mask.
Purple
because
Mask,
it's
Baron
racist.
Zemo.
Yeah, Baron Zemo, and he's just
Yeah.
called Zemo.
Yeah, and he was all pissed off at the Avengers because some rocks fell on his family's house that was like a couple miles out of town. Which again, I don't really think that should have happened either. I think that's kind of illogical as well. But regardless, fucking yeah, that's all. That was his whole purpose. But in the comics, he's fucking Hydra. I mean, he's like right up there under fucking Strucker and shit.
No. Actually, the story behind Zemo is one of the heads of Hydra. There were in the comic books they actually established that there were 7 heads of Hydra, and they were all like German nobles or German soldiers, like the best of the best and stuff like that. Where Red Skull was the head of the science department and one of the main bad guys for Captain America. Zemo was ahead of their armed forces, specifically, like he was the one who oversaw all of their training, their elite warriors, all that shit. Zemo was like the best warrior they had. So he was on par with Captain America with the super soldier serum before he actually got cursed with the fucking virus that he did later on and shit like that. So
And
Zemo was a badass.
And his
was.
father was one of the scientists that also worked.
No. You're mixing up Helmut Zemo and Heimlich Zemo.
Yeah. I am mixing them up.
Yeah. Heimlich is the one from the 40s who was the original head of Hydra. Helmut is the one is his son, who at one point in actual story, he also becomes a villain. I can't remember. Oh, Citizen V.
Citizen
Citizen
V.
Z. I can't remember.
It's Citizen V. Citizen V because Citizen Victory.
Yeah. He turns out to be Citizen, like the son of
Or the Thunderbolts.
yeah, he's the first leader of the Thunderbolts and all that shit.
Yeah.
For a moment there, I thought Citizen Z, really?
Z.
Well, I was thinking Z because I was like, well, Marvel was ahead of their time. They knew about the Z's and Zers before anyone.
Right.
Citizen Z was fucking Z Nation.
Oh,
At least that's the Citizen Z I know of. Citizen Z, the fucking skinny nerdy guy that's just the skinny nerdy guy in a lot of movies. He was always on the radio. Nobody watches Z Nation. I know Zombie Guy doesn't watch Z Nation, but
No, I don't watch that.
No, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, this is what he looks like.
hold on, beer back, piss off, baby.
But yeah, but Samaj, this is what Citizen Z looks like. Citizen V looks like.
Okay. I've seen this person before. I don't think I've read the comic, but I know I've seen the character.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. It's like how do I get access to all the world's top secret things? Oh, I don't know. I'll just pretend to be a superhero.
Yeah, he got together with a handful of other villains. They were all previously established villains and all that stuff, created their own superhero team called the Thunderbolts. And when the world loved them more than the Avengers, they basically thought that they were better Avengers, all that stuff. Eventually, they would reveal themselves to be who they truly are, and they were like a new coming of the Masters of Evil and shit. And shortly after, though, what is it? Screaming Mimi, who just so happens to be Songbird here. She's the one with the colorful hair and everything. Along with Atlas, they actually enjoyed being heroes so much that they legitimately turned on the others. So two of the
also
five
forgetting
Thunderbolts.
Mockade, the guy right in the background.
He fucking died, dude. They killed him off after they did their heel turns.
Oh yeah, I forgot the other guy became Mockade. I'm sorry, do you know how many Mockades there are?
I know. The point I'm trying to say though is that three of their members of the Thunderbolts, when they did the heel turn, they actually liked being heroes more than they liked being villains because they liked the attention, they liked the gratification that they would consistently get, and they liked the fact that they were actually having a much better life than when they were villains and such. So they turned, and yeah, Mach 8 fucking died, which is why he stopped being Mach 8 shortly after that. It was like Mach 9 or whatever, because it was a different armor set anyways. But yeah, these were all villains who were disguising themselves as heroes, blah, blah, blah. Thunderbolts.
So I was just going to say, I thought that was actually a very compelling scenario. Like, we're a bunch of villains who pretend to be heroes, and then we actually like it. It's like, let's just be heroes. This is amazing.
Yeah, but it was the funniest thing because Songbird, Atlas, and Mach 8 didn't actually decide to become heroes until after they had revealed to the world that they were actually villains and shit. So shortly after, they kind of had their own little bit of a back and forth and stuff, and eventually, the actual villains, the villain side of the Thunderbolts, were defeated. Songbird, Atlas actually ended up joining the Avengers, or some kind of subgroup of the Avengers sometime after. They'd served a little bit of time in jail, but then they actually became legit heroes afterwards. And then they brought back the Thunderbolts in the Civil War story arc, but they were new Thunderbolts that Tony Stark himself had created.
And they put Norman Osborn as the head.
Well, yeah, for obvious reasons. But no, the thing that people tend to miss when it comes to Civil War, the movie, and Civil War, the comic books, is the comic book had all of the characters that you could want in it. The movie was never going to have everybody in it. We were lucky that halfway through production that Sony actually agreed to the deal that they did, so that they were able to put Spider-Man into the movie. So that was awesome. We got Spider-Man into the Civil War movie, and they did it very well. Marvel has done a lot of their stuff very, very fucking well.
Kind of.
Bullshit. Okay. What are some of the problems? Because DC, dude, I will destroy DC's movie.
I'm not comparing with that. I'm not saying DC's better. I'm not saying DC's better at all. Don't get me wrong. It's just, freaking like Civil War. It was only Civil War in name. It was nothing like the story at all. They didn't even have the right name for the quote unquote Accords or anything like that. It was just name. The title was the only thing it shared with the comic.
That's because the Registration Act was in the comic books, and the Registration Act, people tend to forget this, which is why that fight I had with
It's based on the Mutant Registration Act.
It is. It is 100% actually based on the Mutant Registration Act. However, this was where people like Boulevard Trask and any other racist fucking politician in Hollywood. In power.
Come on, let's be perfectly honest. There are.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, specifically, these people are racist against mutants. Not so much like they hate people of different skin colors. No, they despise mutants. Any politician that despise... No, I know. But I'm saying the ones that despised in the comic books, the ones that despised the mutants, they pushed forward the Registration Act with Tony Stark because of what happened in Stamford, Connecticut.
Yep.
I just love the fact that... I know this is going to sound really morbid, but I almost just love the Sandy Hook thing just because anytime I show people that scene, they're literally just going, did this happen now? the Stanford Connecticut thing because they're like going, holy fuck.
It's funny. Since somebody else is going to say it.
I'm a horrible person.
I think part of
We all are.
I think part of the reason why these movies aren't as accurate as we want them to be, it's because there's probably not going to be too much of an opportunity to make them later on. A lot of these actors are going to go, and when they go, the MCU might go with them. Just
Yeah.
because a lot of the fan base fell in love with the actors along with the characters, and if they're no longer being played by the same people, there's no guarantee that the audience is going to be there as well. If Robert Downey Jr. is no longer Iron Man, I can't be sure there will be any more Iron Man.
Which is kind of sad because, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love him as Iron Man. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I love everybody they've casted so far, except Ruffalo as Hulk. I actually liked Edward Norton better. But regardless, fucking, it's kind of like when Heath Ledger died and people were like, "We can't have another Joker." You got he's just an actor. And these guys are just actors, and like I think if you can find an actor who is equally as good, which we can still have these characters. I mean, fucking look at Hulk. I mean, that the Hulk has had 3 different actors, and not one person is like flipped out that we didn't, that such and such isn't playing him.
And there's
I think if Ruffalo was fucking recasted and fucking they got a different Hulk for the next movie that Hulk's going to be in, I don't think anybody would bat an eye.
Hey Bruce, did you cut your hair?
Right? But like, and I don't know if it's true or not. I saw something months ago that Chris Evans was talking about not being Captain America anymore, and it would suck. It really would. I love the guy as Captain America. He's great Captain America. I freaking love him in almost every movie he's in. But if he doesn't want to be Captain America anymore, fine. We could just find somebody else.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right about that. And I do know that in some cases, when changing actors, it doesn't always work out in your favor.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you can't do it. I mean, look at what was it? I think it was Iron Man 1. They had different
War Machine.
Yeah, with War Machine.
War Machine. And I like the guy that they got now. I mean, he does look a lot. At least the fucking Rhodes that I remember in the comics, he looks a little bit more, more like him.
I always remember Rose as being like this buff military kind of guy, and
right?
The guy we got there is a little scrawny. So
yeah, I remember Rhodes is like a fucking almost like a Terry Crews type of buff black guy.
Yeah, but I do like. Let's say
and now we're getting Terry Crews and Deadpool. It's now coming full circle.
Yeah, I saw that. He's
Bedlam.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Oh, and Shatterstar. When he's actually got the headdress and everything. Fuck. All right. I'm sold. But
have any of you guys watched the new Deadpool yet? Is it even out?
Not till next month.
It's not out yet.
Until next month. Okay.
Here's the thing though. I can't tell if we're getting trolled by the trailers or not. But rumor has it that leaked scripts came out for the Deadpool movie, and both scripts suggest that, because if you see the trailer, the X-Force team jumps out of a helicopter or an airplane, and then they land with parachutes and stuff. Well, according to the leaked scripts, that Deadpool's parachute is the only one that works because he doesn't know how to do parachutes and how to stuff them and all that, and he fucked up with everyone else except for his own. And everyone dies.
So that would be great. I would love it so much if that was what happened.
Well,
and not just that, but also that scene with Peter, because he's going like head first.
Yeah, Peter in the trailer. It's pretty hilarious when you think about it. But then you look at all the different actors, and I'm like, or different characters, and I'm like, I kind of want you guys to live. I want to see how this turns out. But then in the trailer, because we didn't see any parachute stuff or anything until after the scripts came out, and then now the scripts came out, the new trailers you see Deadpool jumping out, and the next scene he actually is on the parachute going woo. I'm like, oh, I don't see anyone else. Are you fucking trolling with us? So I'm a bit nervous.
Man, I'm gonna be so disappointed if that doesn't happen now. I just hope you know that.
I kind of really want to just see. I just really want to see that they do keep it, but it's only with Peter. So it's like like oh hey we got an average guy. He jumps in. He's going face first into the action. Then just complete splatter.
He's Peter W, and he actually has an actual Twitter account, and he does nothing but dad jokes, and apparently it's blowing up in popularity.
Oh no, I've seen it. It's amazing.
I might have to follow that. I love dad jokes. I'm a dad.
Yeah. Great material there. Apparently he's a very lovable kind of guy. But if he dies, I don't know. I might be upset.
It's gonna be the wife. It's just gonna be the wife taking over the Twitter account and suing Deadpool for charges. So it's just gonna become an angry wife ranting account.
I've trolled the Deadpool account.
Yeah,
got him good. Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was or probably earlier this year, maybe late last year. He said he posted something about Trump. He was like, "Why haven't I killed this guy yet?" And I was like, "Because the writers haven't written it," and it pissed him the fuck off. Like it pissed him off. He did not like me. I can't even remember what Trump did at the time, but yeah, he did something that pissed the Deadpool Twitter off.
I don't know. It's hard to hate Trump, especially since all of his threats of going to war with North Korea is causing him to actually have peace with South Korea. I'm like,
he's just lulling people into a false sense of security.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I really do not. I do not trust this at all, one bit.
I'm starting to think that's what the Marvel's fucking movies are starting to do. They're lulling us into a false sense of security. It's okay if the DC movies are bad. Marvel movies will be great. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. What the fuck?
And also, here's the Peter W. Here's the Peter W. account.
Is that a tiger with wings?
Yes.
Oh.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Peter W.
It's literally just like I said, it's literally just like, what do we have like the most normie guy in just on the in universe with the Deadpool movies?
Yeah. There's Shatterstar. Oh. Who's that black woman in the background? I'm not talking about Domino. No, I'm not talking Domino, right behind Domino.
Oh yeah, not her. I thought that was a ghost for a second.
I don't know.
Wait. Oh yeah, so I don't really get what they're doing here with Shatterstar. Like I understand that he's wearing the whole white thing, he's got the red hair and all that stuff, but like I don't know, his body, he's just a little too scrawny for my taste. When I think of Shatterstar, I think of somebody who's built more like Terry Crews over there.
I feel like they're going more for, because since they remade Shatterstar to be more like a LGBT icon, it's like and even right here he's a karate fighting alien from space. It's like they're going more of like he's really not normal looking. Like he doesn't have like a normal body.
Shatterstar's been gay since the 90s, bro. This isn't.
No, but I'm saying because they went from making him asexual to gay, like yourself.
Oh, I got you. Okay, yeah. Well, still, also the long hair kind of bugs me. I don't remember Shatterstar having that ridiculously long of hair.
Yeah, like a tiny ponytail.
Let me see if I can dig up my X-Force comic. Let me see. I was just putting away comics.
I had to reorganize some of my comic boxes recently too.
You're Terry Crews.
I like that they got Terry Crews to play Bedlam. I actually was kind of excited.
There's actually X-Men comics right next to Terry Crews.
Oh, that's actually fucking hilarious.
Let's see here.
And like I said, the tweets are just like the most like normie man ever, and like this entire weird, just there's a reason why it's just great.
I still don't like that they decided to do the Vitiligo shit with her. It's just like, look, if you're gonna go this extreme with the character redesign, just get rid of the dot on the fucking eye. Come on.
And here's here's the guy claiming to block Ryan Reynolds after Ryan Reynolds saying, "Hey, let's go smoke together."
Oh yeah.
Whatever. The previews, well not. Yeah, the trailers specifically. The trailers of the Deadpool 2 movie have definitely been making me interested in actually seeing the movie, just because, like, despite my despite not liking the new design that they've done with certain characters, I don't really mind it that much enough to really make a big deal out of it, to where I'm just like, whatever. I don't fucking care that much about it. I mean, Domino is one of my favorite female characters from Marvel, but whatever. Fine. This is the direction they want to go. Cool. They got Bedlam right. Although, I think it would have been nice to see Terry try to rock some kind of a ridiculous wig, like how he used to look with the flat top in the 90s.
I really hope they make like some weird reference to like to his role, and like everybody hates Chris.
Oh, I don't know if they'll go that far, but they might, like, because knowing Ryan Reynolds.
It's just gonna be Ryan Reynolds saying like, "Weren't you a mailman at one point?"
Or maybe his job is like he is a mailman in the movie, but he decides he wants to leave it to become a member of Deadpool's X-Force.
It's like, why were you fired from your? Because usually whenever they say, "Why were you fired from your previous job?" and it's just a flashback, and then it's just like, "Stab the paper, motherfucker!" And that's the guy who we're seeing him punching in the trailer.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. Still, I'm not. That's, what's actually sad though is two projects that are comic book movies that are coming out soon that are not made by Marvel or DC. Well, not made by Marvel Studios specifically, are two properties, Fox and Sony. One looks great, the other looks like trash.
Which was the other one again? It's the
Venom.
Oh yeah, Venom.
I'll wait on Venom. I'm cautiously optimistic. I've said that before. I want it to be good, but it's Sony. Give it time.
All right, I'm back in. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Kind of back. What'd I miss?
Well, we're bouncing all over the place. We're talking about the outfits in the Deadpool trailer, Shatterstar, and all that stuff. And then we started talking about Venom, or Bedlam and Venom.
Yeah, Bedlam.
Oh my god, I can't see Venom now after that fucking Ricky what's his bitch's thing. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
What's on the Ricky thing?
Hold on. I'm gonna have to go fucking search for Twitter for it now. What the hell is that kid's name? Dude's name.
Oh.
Berwick.
Oh, Ricky Berwick?
Yeah, the Ricky Berwick where he posted a picture of him painted all black, and it's the stuff of fucking nightmares.
Yeah, people were talking about that recently, and I didn't know how to feel about it other than no, kill it with fire.
Yeah, right. Just kill it with fucking fire.
Oh, also speaking of authors and X-Men, here's a tweet I did that so makes me laugh. Rockets, remember when you were talking this with Cunt?
Oh yeah, God, that is so. This man is so fucking weird. I swear, I don't know what to think of him half the time.
Thank you. I always enjoy compliments.
You don't say.
So as far as I can tell with Shatterstar, yeah, he's got the long hair. But then again, I think he was a Rob Liefeld creation, so.
Mm-hmm. Let's just all be happy he has feet.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough, yeah.
That's that weird ass designer. Yeah, he was a Rob Liefeld creation. So I stand corrected. Ridiculously long fucking ponytail.
Well, be grateful that his head out piece isn't going to look like this.
It's just all kinds of weird.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, Shatterstar.
Yeah, I just remember him from when I was a kid, seeing him in comics. I didn't remember his name.
Yeah, I think this is a screen grab from the movie. A little side by side comparison. That's Let's just be happy it's accurate.
Yeah, it's good enough. I'll say that much. It's good enough.
Yeah, they didn't have to go this far, but yeah. And this guy might die. Who knows?
There's a damn good chance he's gonna die.
I'm also hearing. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I just screen shared. I mean, I just sent you on Twitter the Ricky whatever the fuck the thing I was talking about with the symbiote, the Venom thing.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen it. That is the stuff of nightmares. All right.
I figured you'd want to scare everybody else, those who haven't seen it. I was fucking with you. Don't worry about it. I didn't like seeing it again. God, that guy. Love him to death, but man, he really knows how to fucking give somebody nightmares. He needs a horror movie.
I don't think he should have a horror movie because it's gonna be just 2.5 hours of him doing crazy shit.
I think we could make that work.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Just kidnap an actual family and just have him tied up while he's just in a room just doing some weird, creepy shit.
Goodbye, horses.
You know, some people like to say that this Venom. There's a kill.
Looks like shit.
Well, I'm. You know, we always have to remember what we have to compare it to. The previous version of Venom.
Well, you don't like this Venom?
What, this Venom? No. The new one, I actually don't mind, but I have to wait for the movie to come out.
Yeah,
I
It looks slimy, like this would feel like, okay, this is an alien I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I also liked how, like, when the suit comes over him, if you see it in the trailer, it's like actual like rows of teeth going over top the face. I'm okay with that. That it's very horror-esque. But would it work for a movie? It might be a little too cartoony.
I think we need that though in some of these comic movies. We need to keep with the cartoony comic book fucking over the top stuff. Which
and
is
I mean,
like,
that's just like you also this could also work to its benefits because I mean, can you imagine them going a little bit cartoony? It's like, what the fuck am I looking at? This can't be real.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, like in like Friday the 13th, where it's like Freddy breaks the law to fix six, and it's like you can tell it's to like torment his victims.
Yeah, be awesome. Be awesome to see this Venom like eat people.
That would be interesting. I will admit that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, cunts. Tonight we didn't have much going on. Schmeckel's been having some personal issues with his internet specifically, so he's been kind of absent. Tonight we did the thing with the stuff, and we talked about the movies.
All right. Well, quick question: does Captain America and Iron Man touch tips at all in the movie?
Not really.
They don't touch tips. Oh, that sucks. I want to see
Mr. Marjo just tweeted at me.
I'm Marjo.
Fuck you. I saw that. I saw what you said there. No, Thanos, you cannot die. No, you have another. Never mind.
All right. Anyways, so tonight we had Samaj, Darnell, Batman McGrath. You can also find him on Twitter as Hizzard the Wizard, mainly because he got rid of the Batman McGrath tag. Not really sure why.
I get banned all the time.
Oh, fair enough. This has been your Friday Night Cuntstream. Good night, cunts.
Bye-bye.
Ooga ooga.